Welcome to Built for This. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe. My podcast features captivating conversations with intriguing people who have found purpose in their lives through their career, family, or life experiences, and just why they were built for this. Through the stories that you will hear, I trust that you will be inspired and encouraged to find just what you were built for. So let's get started. And welcome again into the studio for another edition of our show. And I'm very pleased and thrilled to join a good friend today to be on the show. He's with Denton Freedom House. We're going to tell you a little bit about that. He does the growth and development for it. Jason Young. Jason, thanks so much for joining on the show.
Man, thanks for having me, Brian. This is great, man.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about your life and your faith and the journey. But let's just start. And I have a lot of questions to let the viewers and listeners know about what Freedom House is all about, Denton Freedom House.
Okay.
But let's just start a little bit about that. Tell people what Freedom House is all about. What do they do?
Well, Denton Freedom House, we are a Christian, faith-based, nonprofit organization that helps individuals that are in addiction. Mm-hmm. In fact, our mission statement is to liberate the broken from their bondage of sin and addiction by the transforming power of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and to equip them to become prosperous disciples of Christ with kingdom vision, purpose, and direction. And so we just see as a nonprofit that the ultimate way to be set free from drugs and addiction is to have a heart set on Christ and his principles and his values, his morals. And then your response to the gospel is ultimately what leads you away from those things that have drawn you away or have damaged your life. And so we just believe that God's power is powerful enough to sustain you, that we don't have to go back to those substances. And so that's what we preach and teach. And we've been doing it for 21 years. We're a nonprofit again. And so we offer them a free 180-day program, men and women, which originally started off as men, but now we have helped women as well. And so we offer them a stay in one of our properties, men or women's home, for 180 days. And so they won't have to worry the financial side. That's my job. I go out to the community, raise awareness, and raise the funds to continue to do what we do.
What's the ratio breakdown of men and women that are coming into the program now?
Well, there's more men that come in. Like I said, originally we started only as men, and so it was thought of Denton Freedom House as just a men's home. We opened up the women's home in 2020. And so it's only women's home has only been 5 years. Yeah, it's been a men's ministry for 21 years. Yeah, and so that's the first thought. And so obviously our facilities was geared toward men. Our ministry was geared toward men. The volunteers were geared toward men. And so it's well rounded and established. The women's home, it's there, but it's on a smaller scale right now. Currently, we can hold up to 60 men in our properties. We can only hold 14 women in our women's home, and so.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the homes you have there, food pantry, and a lot of different elements that make up Freedom House. But let's go back to how you got attached to Freedom House, and it's 14, 15 years ago that you were actually you were one of the people there that you were at a crossroads in your life and fighting these same kind of addictions.
Exactly. So how I got attached to Freedom House is I was a part of the program, as you just said. I heard about Denton Freedom House back in 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. I had a desire at that time to walk away from drugs and alcohol. That was my road of life. And I just wasn't ready. Yeah, I had heard about the program. I hung around a little bit, and I just wasn't ready to surrender my life just yet. But I did go into the program in 2019, and part of my road there was I had a lot of deep hurt, anger, grief issues of losing my mom when I was young, being raised by a lovely grandma, which we spoke about, that I always mention. But being raised by a lovely grandma who taught me biblical principles, who taught me Jesus. But it just, when I turned 18, I just threw it all out the window, and I chose just a life of substances, mainly alcohol, and abused pain medications for many years. Found myself in and out of jail, losing jobs. My marriage was on the rocks. Kids, relationships destroyed. Dropped out of college. I mean, the list goes on of just the trouble I had over the last, at that time, probably 38 years of just running around. I entered into Denton Freedom House in July of 2019, fresh out of a county jail. I was in jail for drug possession. While I was in that last time in jail is where I was reintroduced to God and Christ and the Bible. I began to read the Bible in jail, and as soon as I got out, I knew where to go. I had heard about the program, and I was like, I think I'm ready now. And I entered in July 19th of 2019, and my life has not been the same since.
Are you seeing people or men and women that have that same, perhaps that same kind of approach where the first introduction to Freedom House that doesn't really click or do something for them, that maybe they come back later and see what you have to offer?
Absolutely, yeah. I see there are residents now that are coming in who have heard about us, that we've personally have met somewhere along the roads. We go inside the jails, we go to homeless communities, and so we introduce people to Denton Freedom House all the time, and it's many months or years later where they come in. So absolutely, I see that fence is it's a hard decision to at times to drop those things to then pick up your cross, as we say.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so, on that note, how difficult was it for people that maybe don't really understand addiction or what it's like to go through that? But for you, coming out of jail that last time, what was it that, I guess, precipitated or sparked you when you were looking at your life and your family and said, you know what, now this is the time? What was it that made you really hone in on this time and not all the years before?
Well, there was many reasons, but one of a few reasons was when the last time I was in jail, actually reading the Bible and beginning to understand it. And I just started in the Gospels. I started reading John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and I just saw how Jesus' life was. I began to understand his work on the cross, his life lived, forgiveness, and those kind of things helped me to establish going somewhere. And like I actually saw myself going somewhere based on what he'd done in my life. And then also in jail, I began to read the Bible to other men that was there. I began teaching the people that were in my pod, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I just felt people were asking me questions, and I'm like, well, I only could teach what I know. And so I began, and I was in jail last time like 65 days, which doesn't seem like a long time, but for me, it was the longest I've ever been in jail. And I began to just teach men what I knew, what I was reading. And then in that, I felt God calling me strongly, like, this is what you need to do when you get out of here. You need to pick up the word, read it, and teach it. And so I began that. And so my goal was at first was just to get off drugs. I was like, I got to get off drugs. I can't do this, God, with the drugs. And so I sobered up in jail, of course. And so when I got out, I said, I don't want to go back to those. And that last time of coming off of those substances, the sickness I endured in jail, and just reminded me, don't go back to this. And so that was kind of the push. And seeing how I was destroying my wife, she came and visited me in jail, and just seeing her emotions on just where my life ended up, though all those things, combination of those things said, you know what, don't go back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Could you imagine yourself then from going from that point to somehow being on the staff of the very place that you were a resident?
Nope. I'd never seen it.
How did that come about?
In fact, I was a truck driver.
Yeah, okay.
So I was driving for a company for many years. and that company actually sent me to get help originally. But I took advantage of the help that they offered me, and they ended up letting me go in 2018. When I graduated Denton Freedom House, I went back to driving trucks, but on a smaller scale. And Denton Freedom House approached me a couple of times and, hey, have you ever considered working here? I was teaching the men. I was mentoring some of the men when I graduated. And my first thought was no, because it's a nonprofit. And I didn't know how I could take care of my family. I was like, I don't know.
Sure.
But if you begin to see God's will for your life, and I begin to trust Him. Something I had never did before. I'd always trusted that I get a job that pays good and I get paid every 2 weeks. That was my trust. And so coming from that, I said, okay. And I stepped out on faith literally and resigned from my truck driving and came on staff in 2021. So,
well, and I want to follow up a little bit on that word trust and stepping out on faith. I've had to do that a couple of times on career changes when it's like, I don't know what
it's scary.
It's scary.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm going to do for income. But was that the first time that you really experienced what trust meant? Was that you were going to have to trust God, but also trust this organization that were a resident in and now going to be a part of that they could provide? Right.
So I trusted God in the organization, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trusting God was the overall arching trust for me to do it. And I trusted what God is doing through the program, because I myself is a living testimony of it. So I can't deny the power that God is working through the ministry of Denton Freedom House, because I'm a result of His work. And so I trusted God first, ultimately, and then I talked to my wife. Then I trusted Denton Freedom House and whatever they could do.
Yeah.
You
mentioned your wife.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the support through all of this that she gave you, has given you to now be where you are now, because I know that had to be some tough times.
It's a big part of it, and I don't want to get emotional, but my wife is really good.
Yeah, she is.
She stuck with me, man. When even when I didn't believe in myself, like, my wife was there to believe in me.
Yeah.
And always. Since I've graduated, I've become a minister, and so I preach at a lot of churches. I was an assistant pastor at a church here up until recently. But I mention, anytime I'm talking about perseverance, I mention my wife, because my wife is the epitome of what perseverance and trust and faith and just the hold on aspect of what we are to be as Christians. She embodies that. She tells me now, man, something just told me not to give up on you. And she's been really supportive, especially now as I go into, I'm a full-time ministry.
Yeah.
I do Denton Freedom House, and then I'm minister. I'm at churches and things of that. And she's just been there. She's been there.
And how did you ever, you certainly couldn't have expected, I think, that you would have gone from resident of Freedom House to one day being a pastor that's teaching everywhere. And how did you welcome that with open arms? That you've got this opportunity that you may be able to go to other churches and not just the Freedom House audience, but to do something like that.
Yeah, I welcome that. I kind of saw that for my life. As shortly after I graduated, I began to do Denton Freedom House. We are always invited to other churches as to give our testimonies, to share our story, to give what Denton Freedom House is. And so that's kind of how I started on staff. I was our growth and development director, Chad. He was always saying, "Hey, Jason, I'm going to this church. Can you come with me and share your story?" And so me sharing my story ended up being, "Hey, you want to keep doing this with us, to go to these churches, to go to these businesses?" I've spoken at employee luncheons to galas and to dinners. I've spoke a lot of places at churches, Sunday school, Bible studies, home churches. And so he said, hey, you ever want to do this with us on a regular basis? Just let me know, And so that's kind of how I began that. But those speaking engagements, those small or great, however they work, I began to see that God's showing me you need to stand before people and teach the word.
Let's go to the Freedom House and how it began. You said 21 years.
Yeah.
I know a family, Jeremy and Karen Adams, started in their home, and then branching out from that. But just the vision that you're carrying forward and the team is carrying forward about going to actually meeting men and women where they are, in jail, in their circumstances. And that's the foundation of, obviously, I would think, how this ministry is working.
Yeah, Jeremy and Karen excellent individuals. But Jeremy had the vision of him getting out of seminary and him catching as he said, the missionary bug, where he wanted to travel the world and share his faith and equip other churches in other countries with the gospel. And someone mentioned to him, you should begin to do that in your hometown. And so that's kind of the heart behind it, that if you're going to go to whatever country and do it, you could do it here in Texas, right here in your backyard. And so that's how he started, just bringing in men at that time, just sharing his faith with them and discipling them. That's one of the main things that we do. Not just share our faith, but try to give what we know to others that they'll be able to share with others. And so the discipleship process. So that's what he began doing, discipling men, taking them to work, sharing Jesus with them, sharing them how to tell the testimony, sharing them how to speak the gospel to other people. And that just blew out the water. It become a successful ministry that couldn't hold his house. He did what he was doing in his house. Couldn't hold it no more. It was too many men, too much progress, but too many neighbors seeing there's too many people in his
something
house.
Going on here.
So a church where we lived in Texas saw the fruit that he was doing and gave him and offered him an opportunity to have some land and some property, and that's where we are now currently.
In Aubrey?
Yeah, it's in Aubrey. Yeah, Aubrey, Texas, yeah.
You've talked about the graduating from the program, and so I know there's three steps, three levels that a resident has to get through. And talk a little bit about that, about when they come, when someone's coming that's needing help like that, it's more than really just addiction. Sometimes I know there's homelessness involved. There's they don't have jobs, and you got to help them learn that responsibility. But talk about the levels of getting through a program before you can get out there and do it on your own.
Right, and so our program is ran. We call it Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and then we have staff and interns. The Phase 1 part is the initial 180-day program where you're learning. You're having classes, biblical classes, financial classes. You're working either at our coffee shop, Zara. You're working at our food pantry, which has become the first largest. I think we're the largest now food pantry in Denton County.
Exactly.
Servicing a lot of people. So you work in those areas. You attend church regularly. It's a structured out day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And you're tasked with just the structure, how to live your life away from those substances, but our foundation is Christ, and so everything is revolved around biblical beliefs and Christianity and Jesus, and so that's the first 6 months. Once you complete that, then we encourage you. We don't make anybody do even the first phase, but we encourage you highly to stay another 6 months, and in that second 6 months, we call it Phase 2. We do our best to help you get your legal documents, birth certificates, driver's license, social security cards. We have relationships, which is part of my job. We have relationships with people out in town that will give a man or a woman a chance to work. Banks, we have relationships with banks. Give them a bank account. We ask them to save money, and just kind of the second 6 months is designed so when you graduate, you won't just go right back to your environment, that you can stay there and still continue to do what you've been learning for the first 6 months. You do it on a kind of a leash off time on the second 6 months, and then if you complete that, we have phase 3 program where there's houses out in Denton that we oversee. And then we allow you to move into some of those homes if you have met all the requirements of phase 2. And we currently have 3 phase 3 houses right now. When I first started, we had 1.
Wow.
And so now there's currently it's only men that are in those homes. Our prayer is that we can have eventually a phase 3 women, home. But it's and you can stay in those houses as long as you want, and we ask you to, to continue. There's still rules, regulations, curfews, even in that.
Are there some couples that have provided those homes for people to come in and live with, kind of house monitors, I guess, if you will?
We have, I don't know, I can't think of what we call them, but there's leaders that live in those houses.
Yeah, leaders, yeah.
It's all the 3 houses is men graduates that oversee those houses.
Okay.
It's house managers. That's what we call them. So they're graduates of our program that are have been tested, that have stood the test, and so they are leaders in those homes. Yeah.
And so how long would a resident stay there, and what do they need to accomplish, I guess, to
you gotta
move
have
on?
a full-time job,
Full-time.
Transportation to and from your job. You've been working on your job for consistent time as well. And usually we see people stay in those homes till they get married.
Okay.
Once you get married, of course, you don't want to have your newlywed wife with grouped up like that, because those homes are all, 4 to 5 men in like 3 to 4 bedroom homes.
Yeah.
Nice homes actually, that are just in a community. You just live as roommates at that time.
Sure.
But it's considered our Denton Freedom House phase 3 program house.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you seen this is a remarkable model of helping men and women get from where they are when they first come there, and work their way through this program. I don't know if I've seen such a program put together like this,
Right.
but with some great hearts of the original couple, the Adams that started it,
Right.
but now a whole team that seems to be not just focused on your faith well-being, but it starts there, but to be able to take it so detailed to preparing someone for life in every such way. This seems to be something very unique.
Exactly. Because, even in my personal life now, being in ministry, but I have a wife, kids I got to take care of. And so that's the model that we want. We want men and women to be able to not just be drug free, but you have to live out in society.
Right.
So you need to work. You need stability. You need to have good relationships. You need to have a relationship with your kids. You need to be a father. You need to be a mother. And so it's not just get off drugs. And so that's kind of no offense to secular rehabs, but most of the time their focus is sobriety. Our focus is you have to stand up. You have to take care of your responsibilities. You have to live this life, but also you need to be away from substances that will draw you and destroy your life too. But build and train you up as a man or woman who have a foundation in Christ, that is able to work, able to take care of your family, and just live life as that versus just I'm sober. Yeah.
How, I guess, what's the biggest pushback that you see from residents who may find out about Denton Freedom House and test it out or try it out, but all of a sudden it's like, no, we're not doing. What seems to be the hesitancy? And maybe you faced it when you first went there. Thought, I don't know if this is for me or not.
Well, my experience is a little different because I was 40 years old when I went.
True.
So it was Jason, it's time to do good. It's my wife and my grandma's voice in my mind
coming in there. Yeah.
Jason, do right, you know. So mine's a little different, but what I've seen, and maybe someone a little younger, is they may feel like, oh, they got time.
Right.
I feel like I had no more time. It was like you got to get your life together now, you know. But it's hard. Our program is the discipleship program is hard. I mean, even if away from a discipleship program, just living a life as a Christian, I mean, it's not easy.
No.
And so our program is really tough. And so I see a lot of hesitance when we start going over the rules and the structured out day, you know, waking up early in the morning, going to bed a little later, no naps, you know what I mean? That's what I do now. I don't get a nap, you know? And so it's like, it's a tough walk through if you just been waking up every day and just doing whatever you wanted to, no structure, no time constraint, living a life just in and out of jail or just drugs. That's one way. But then when you come to us and we want to do our best to structure out that life, it's a tough transition. Yeah.
Talk about a couple of the other outreaches, I guess, of Freedom House, and certainly benefits Freedom House. But the food pantry, you mentioned that a minute ago, and it is like the largest and serving the most people in the county. But how that works and how people get connected to that, and what that's meant for the ministry to be able to provide something like this.
Yeah. So our food pantry is the only one in North Texas right now that I know of, that we know of, that is open 5 days a week. And so that is the driving, you know, thing that people come to us because they know they can come to us more than just once a month or once every 2 weeks or just on a Saturday or something like that. We are open Monday through Friday, and we don't ask a lot of questions, and that's another thing about us. You want food, you can get it from us.
Is it at Aubrey? Do people come to Aubrey, or where is the food pantry?
It's in Denton, Texas.
It's in Denton.
So that's a good question. So our food pantry is in 1720 West University. It's right next, if you know anything about Denton, but it's right next door to the Subway right there by the Whataburger. And you come in, we ask you a few questions just for our benefit and for our donors' benefit. But other than that, we don't deny anybody food. And so we service over 200 families, individuals and families a day out of there now, 5 days a week.
Wow.
We started on a smaller scale. We started the pantry in COVID. We took over a pantry that was about to close down. And we took it over because we didn't want those families to go without. At the time, I think they were serving maybe 60 to 70 families, a week. Yeah. But then, of course, we took it over. COVID hit, and that jumped up significantly. Yeah. And then, so we continue to still do that work. And one difference in our pantry too, we're client choice. So we allow people to come inside our pantry. We give them a shopping cart. It's like a grocery store, so it knock a little bit of the shame off. We don't just hand you a box out the window, have a good day. We allow you to come in. You can shop and take things off the shelf that you and your family can eat.
And how is that? I would think that would be just paramount in improving self-esteem for people that need to do this. Like you said, it takes off a little bit. Seems like a very intentional thing to do that helps people get that self-esteem.
Yeah, it is. And so it's because even I go in there, I see kids in there, you know, they're not, the families are not so shameful that they're getting food. I mean, it's like a regular grocery store. It's a small building, but it's like a grocery store. You get the shopping cart, and we usually have some things for kids, some treats, some snacks as well. So that kid doesn't really, get the maybe the parents is not feeling shame that they have to bring their kid in because we treat them all like just a regular store, Yeah. And it's been a blessing in the community, and it's been a blessing to watch families being fed. I mean, and we have things for homeless community as well. Some people that don't have refrigerators, so we'll have a section just that they can get as well, that they don't need a refrigerator or cook in, a stove. They don't have a way to cook food, and so we're able to maintain and to serve a variety of people.
I know this is a big part of what you do in the outreach and growth and development, but what's been the reception when you approach donors, food donors that would help stock this pantry, and they see the mission and the work that you're doing? What's been their reaction?
We have a lot of people that want to help.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people want to help. I mean, from school districts to businesses to churches, individuals. I mean, we have a lot of people that want to help and do food drives. Last year, this last school year, I mean, I think it was 2 or 3 schools that did food drives. Churches did food drives for us, and people donated money, time. Just yesterday, I picked up a bunch of kits baking kits. Another nonprofit put together baking kits for kids, and we stocked our shelf in our pantry with it. We had a pan, the icing, the cake mix, little pot holders, and it was pretty, all wrapped up.
Nice.
And there was about 60 of them that I dropped off. I picked them up and dropped them off at the pantry. And so a lot of people want to help, and I think that is just a testament to just our hearts as people. People. You know, they have a desire to give, and I think that is a one way that it's that they know that their giving is going to something greater, and so our food pantry has become a blessing in that aspect. Yeah.
Let's talk about Zara Coffee.
Zara.
It's a great place to go to get coffee.
Yes, it is.
But it certainly benefits Denton Freedom House. I know some residents, as you mentioned at the start, get to work there.
Yeah.
But talk about how that association came to be and what it means to the ministry.
And so the coffee shop started in 2009. It was a furniture restoration place where the residents of Denton Freedom House would restore furniture and then sell it and make a little bit of money for the ministry. And they began to just serve coffee, and that service of coffee turned out into a full functioning coffee shop. And it's an event center now as well. Did some renovations during COVID. Now it's an event center. We have ice cream now. We got sandwiches. We have anything you can get at a coffee shop. We have that along with ice cream, sandwiches, wraps, and things like that. Pastries, breakfast items. And so, it's just become become this pillar in the community. As one of the largest, I think it's the largest, should be now, coffee shop, but it's a great meeting place for people. It's right almost off the square in Denton. And it just has this environment that you sit and be comfortable and have one-on-ones with someone. Many people show up and have group meetings. You're able to rent our space out for events. It's been a great place for kids to come in. They get ice cream and I mean, it has good coffee. And I'm not just saying that.
No, it does.
Yeah, because I work there. But the regular just drip coffee to me is one of the best. So, and that's all I drink. So, it's just become this community, this community gatherings place almost. And it's just been a great tool for our ministry. Yeah.
The need that Freedom House sees in the community, obviously it started, as we talked about, with the couple, but since you've been associated with it, both from a resident and now staff, and your heart is so fully into it, how big is this need in our community to reach out and help those that are facing addiction and the many other things that go with it? Is it a bigger need than people even realize that what you're taking on?
It is.
Yeah.
If I was, I don't know the exact percentage, but if I was to go in a room of maybe 100 people and I could ask the question, how many of you have either been affected by addiction somewhere along your family, or you yourself have been in addiction? Raise your hand. You would get almost the majority, because if I haven't dealt with drugs, I know somebody in my family has. And so it hits home and it resonates with a lot of individuals just because they have some distant uncle, some distant cousin, some distant aunt. Many times I go in places and it's their mom or their dad, or it's someone that has passed away that dealt with addiction. And so a lot of people can resonate with it. They may themselves have not, but they know someone in it. And so that awareness of who we are is one of the biggest things that we want to raise out there, that there is somewhere free, that if you have a desire or you want those substances out of your life, that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. You can go to DentonFreedomHouse.org. It's an application process, of course, but you can go there and you won't have to worry about the finances if you really want to be free from those substances.
And that right there, that it won't cost people something. And you talked about it a minute ago with the food pantry, but overall in the mission, the ministry of Denton Freedom House, talk about how the community and beyond are supporting this vision and this faith-based uplifting of men and women. That there's a lot of people and a lot of companies that support what you're doing, and I know that's what you are part of. But have you been surprised or encouraged by what you see when you go out and tell people this is what we do and we'd like you to support us?
I've been encouraged.
Yeah.
Of course, I have one of the hardest jobs because I'll go to people, and when I show up at their office, they know where I'm there.
Yeah, they do.
Hey, I need you. But I've got some no's, and in the beginning of this, it was discouraging because I thought it was always me. Maybe I'm not approaching it right, but now I just go in and I share, who we are, and I've seen God move. Every year we're able to raise the right amount of money for what we need. Mm-hmm. And so we have ways, to give. We have monthly donors. We have one-time givers. We have people that only support during our season of golf, or our gala. And throughout the year, some people just say, hey, I thought about you guys. Here you go, And it's not only money. We got volunteers that volunteer their time. We got a lot of volunteers that volunteer their time. But some people give there was a recent church just gave a van to us, Mm-hmm. And so there's other needs that we need that we see time and time that they just provide. The community has been a great, great help of providing for what we need.
What about you personally? What do you think made you built for this, for doing what you are doing? I know you said probably couldn't in a million years thought you would doing something like this, but now here you are, and every time I see you, you got a great smile on your face, and I could tell that, Jason is doing what he's built to do.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, Brian, to be honest, man, before I got here, I was reading my word, man, mm-hmm. and I was listening to some worship music. And so what has made me built for this is staying grounded in who God is. Mm-hmm. I was just reading Joshua chapter 1 this morning, me and my wife actually, and that is something that has do not let this word depart from your mouth, Joshua 1:8. That heart, and he says meditate on that. That has wholeheartedly been my foundation of why I'm able to get up in the morning, smile, and keep going. It's staying grounded in the word, and that's what's made me built for this. Mm-hmm. I don't shy away from who I am in God, which is I really like working at Denton Freedom House because of that, because of the Christian foundation, who we are. I can always share our ministry, but also share that. Listen, me myself, I stand by God, and then I stand by the work he's doing. And so I'm always able to share my faith, even knocking on the door and say, hey, we got a golf tournament. Mm-hmm. Can you help us? And so that has been something that has made me built for this.
How have you, I guess, grown or become more content in your life when you flash back to when you were 40 or before that? And then the journey that you've traveled and the contentment that you have. Obviously, it was not an easy time because you've already talked about it with your family and life in general. But in looking back, the journey you've taken, how content have you? What can you apply that to? I know you're going to say it's your faith, obviously, but you probably couldn't have imagined to be where you are right now with that.
I couldn't. Yeah. And along with my faith, man, I have a supportive, and I mentioned this earlier, I got a supportive wife, but also my kids. Yeah. I got adult kids. I got 4 kids, and 3 of them are adults in their 20s, and I got one 16-year-old who's an adult, basically. He got his driver's license. So
that's scary.
Yeah. You need something to go to the store, you got a license, Yeah. And so the support of a family who understands who you are is really key. It's really big on of where I am today. And wholeheartedly, I couldn't do it without God and my wife. I'm gonna be honest. It was just the last 7 years only when I started paying attention to my marriage. 21 years married, but the last 7 years when I really started paying attention to how much I need a wife.
Yeah.
And so that has been something that has kept me grounded, kept me growing. And if I had to pick something else that's built for this, it's my wife and my family, my kids. Man, they've put their hands around my shoulders when I left. There's moments in our lives where I was not present in their lives. And so for them to embrace me, put their arms literally around me and continue to encourage me, that's something else that has kept me grounded.
I know you see a lot of men, obviously, in this ministry, and it started with that, who may be fathers themselves. Yeah. But when you look to see the journey you've been through as a father, how does that? Are you a stronger are you a stronger father now? And what can you share with these men who are going through their own addiction issues, but they also need to be a father too?
Yeah, I would say pay attention to your kids. One thing that was tough for me is when I was in Denton Freedom House and my kids would come visit me. They came every week. You get one visitation a week on Sundays. And my kids came every week. And a couple of times I sat them down, and me and my wife, and we asked them the hard questions. Can you share what it's like for your dad here to be in this condition in and out of your life? And to hear their responses through tears, man, really broke me. And it really made me aware of the importance of being consistent in their life and not this in and out weekend or just when I feel like it, Dad, that the consistency is what they desired. And so listening to their responses has driven me to consistently be in their life now. And so, talk to your kids. I would say as a father, just ask them questions and be ready for their hard truths because they're going to tell you. And it may hurt a little bit, but allow that hurt, whatever they say, that your response be according to that.
What would you like the vision from now to be for Denton Freedom House? We've seen the growth over 21 years. You've talked about it on the show here about everything that this organization does for men and women. But what's on the horizon? And if you were thinking about, boy, if we could do this and reach these people.
Well, yeah, our vision is every broken life mended. And so we have a goal and a vision to see many, or every life mended, every life of drug-free, but also every life and everyone that come to us with the foundation of who Jesus Christ is. And so that is our vision, our overall vision. We would like to see, a bigger place where we can take in more men and women. We haven't discussed it, but me, I'm thinking maybe 2 more coffee shops, one out here in Prosper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there we go.
We need a Zara Frisco, just to get that out in the community. And of course, our food pantry. I mean, it's growing every day, every week. It seems like, and there are so many partners that are partnered in on what we are doing. And so even on a bigger scale, we need I was just there yesterday. I'm like, we got to figure out how to get a dock to back these trucks up. If it's just more men and women could be in our program, which we need more buildings and bigger buildings. And so, we want to see God do a work in a lot of more lives. Yeah.
Well, you're changing a lot of lives, and I'm going to circle back here to the start of this show, or this episode, but for you to be able to reach out to the community to either raise support or visit directly with men and women, could you have done it without having personally gone through the road that you traveled? I mean, you were in the shoes of these same men and women that you're talking to. not that you would, if you could do it again, you might not want to do that. But I mean, how does that help you now to be able to relate to these men and women, and they can and develop that word we talked about a while ago is trust.
Right. And so I think I hear what you're asking, but
Yeah.
me, a personal story coming to someone to say, listen, this nonprofit does X, Y, Z. A personal story I think resonates more than just, hey, I'm a marketing guy and I'm trying to sell you something. You know,
Yeah.
I think that me giving a personal testimony about the work that Denton Freedom House can do,
Yeah.
and I'm a living witness of that. Will draw someone in more with their time, their resources, more so than just I heard about this place versus I've been to this place, I've been a part of it, was a resident, and now I'm kind of reaching back, helping them out, and that's kind of what I'm doing. Actually, is just reaching out to them, helping them for the work that they did in my own personal life and my family's life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you're involved in everything in the community. You're out there with the chamber and a lot of things, either on behalf of Freedom House or just because of what you do.
Right.
That's. Would you have done that 20 years ago, 30 years
Absolutely
ago?
not.
Yeah.
I didn't like talking to people.
You wouldn't have done this podcast 20 years ago.
Absolutely not.
But you. But I could see the victory in your life, and you live it every day, and I'm sure that's what you try to tell the people, men and women, that you're living your victory, right?
Yeah, living it, and if God will, I will continue to live it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing fantastic work. The Denton Freedom House is an incredible impact on the community and reaching a lot of men and women that need to be reached. Right. You're sharing your story, and so you're an inspiration to a lot of people, and I appreciate what you're doing and what Denton Freedom House is doing. I hope the ministry continues to grow.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate you inviting me here, and I am looking forward to build for this. I'm going to watch it, and so not just this episode, but
okay.
I want to watch it, man, because I see this. This is you.
This is me.
This is you.
Well, you're part of that for being on, so thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right, Jason, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Built for This. Be sure to follow Built for This on your favorite listening platform and share it with a friend. Join me on the next episode when I will share entertaining stories of inspiration, encouragement, and purpose-driven experiences. What are you built for? Built for This is produced and recorded by Heart Media DFW.